When I started this Gunners Collective, you already know what it is. This is the double up. In the green room. I said the motherfucking green room. Orale, as you can tell by that thumbnail right there, this is a whole different story. Now, this is a story that I never told before, but I felt that if for no other reason, I should hit you guys with the double bubble. Because that's what it is. In a menudo style, in a direct fashion. I was talking to my primo earlier, and he called me. We're chopping it up. We're chopping game. And he was like, hey, remember this and remember that. And you know, when you get to talking and conversating, you start remembering things and telling war stories and kicking back, you know, drink a little bistro and just chop game. And I remembered something that I needed to speak on. A story I needed to tell you guys. Something that's very interesting, very tragic, a little bit funny. But damn, the shit is real, right? So trip out on this. We're chopping it up, and then he reminded me about a situation when I was locked up. I was incarcerated, right? And there was this group of homeboys. And I say they were homeboys because at this time, they were norteños, but I didn't really know the get down with them. I just met them. I'm out of state. It is what it is. I'm fresh and new to this state, but I'm also new to this prison system. And I don't know who's who and what's what. You know, I know about checking paperwork. I know about running game. I know about all that. But I didn't know quite extensively, you know, what the situation was with these fellas. I ended up finding out later on exactly what was going down and a whole lot of extracurricular activities. Guard! Oh, I done found out, right? But in the meantime, in between time, I thought these were the camaradas, the homeboys, you know. The canalismo was real. They embraced your boy when he got there, showed me love, shot me a big fat ass package. I remember a couple soaps, a whole lot of soups, you know what I mean? Just a little bit of everything, man. I was blessed with the Smith & Wesson, and I was very happy. Because there's a lot of places you get to and the homeboys have tienda. They don't have tienda. It just ain't going down. You know, you're lucky if you get a little piece of soap, a little bit of shampoo in a little bag. And that's what it is, man. And you have to deal with what you have to deal with. You know, the struggle is for reals. That's why they talk about forever forward. And the struggle is real. The struggle does get real at times. Now, trip out. This situation right here was different. I get there and these vatos are balling out of control. And what tripped me out about the situation was all four of these individuals were in the same building, the same compound. They were all crime partners. Now, usually when you do a crime, especially as vicious as they did, they usually split you up. One vato goes over here, the next vato's over there, and then I can see vato back there. But in this situation, they were all in the same compound. I didn't key in on that. I wasn't really tripping. I was just happy to be around some righteous gente. When I first got to that system, they sent me to a place, and I told you about it. I was all by my lonesome. I was all by myself. Came up out the shirt right there on the bleachers. I told you everyone got off when they seen the Huelga bird. And it was on and cracking, man. I had to get off where I was mad at. And of course, I had to go do my oil time, get back out, get off, back and forth and back, right? And it was like this and like that. And it was like an old Dr. Dre song, man. It was nothing but a G thing. But I remained a G because the G was in me. Now, trip out on this. And this is the craziest part of the situation. They end up shipping me to another place. And then I'm thinking that, man, I'm going to have to do this all over again. Repeat cycle, right? Around and around we go. But no, I get placed in a compound with all these other norteños and I'm happy. I'm happy to be around my own gente, my own people. And it is what it is. Of course, run that paperwork. I'm going to need that right off the top. So I go to reading the paperwork and I come to find out that these vatos are in for a gang-related murder. Some of them got 30 years. A couple of them got 25, right? A couple of them are out nowadays. But this was the situation. So I'm kicking back. The embracement is real. The love is there. Now, these vatos are not from where I'm from. So they play the game a little bit different. They weren't quite as laced up. They weren't trying to work out. They weren't rolling their mattresses up. There was a lot of things, I'm not going to say I implemented, but a lot of things that I started to do and people started to take notice. So they started to go with the flow because I already knew what time it was. Having been locked up in the state of California, having been locked up in different county jails, man, I knew the program, you know. So I started to implement the program for whoever would listen, but it wasn't mandated or mandatory. It was kind of like, hey, Holmes, this is the way we get down back home. Are you going to get down like this? Or are you going to get down like that? Because if you get down like that, I ain't going to get down with you unless you want to get down with me, right? Things like that. So these vatos were in for a gang-related murder. What had happened was they lived in a small little town to where there was Southsiders and Norteños both about even in this town. And they decided after getting drunk one night that they were going to go and attempt to go ride on the Enemiga. They were going to go hunting, right? That's what we refer to as hunting back in the 90s. You go looking for the, the enemies, and you, hey, la primera lives. And anybody, Holmes, you get anybody you can. Well, they end up killing, I think it was 2 or 3 individuals with an AK-47. And these guys have already convicted. They've done their time, so I'm not telling you nothing that, the paperwork doesn't tell you itself. They end up getting caught up. What I didn't know at that time and what I know now is that all of them told on each other. Okay, I think there was one that stood solid out of all of them, but the rest told on them. Now, what these guys did, having been homeboys from the guys and homeboys since they were kids, instead of getting mad at the vato for putting you in, getting you incarcerated, the vato that didn't tell just rode with it and just rode with them. And they all stuck together. Now, the administration knew wherever they put these guys, they were a target. There was a target on their back. Because in this state, man, there was a lot more Southsiders than there was Norteños. So they try to keep all the Northerners together as much as possible. Now, me, Willie Lump, stupid, dumb, right? I didn't know what was going on. I'm in on my own other shit, right? Had nothing to do with them other than based on we got birds on us and we're homeboys. So I didn't know, like I said, the extensive history to them telling on each other and stuff. I thought, hey, they're all solid. They're all together. They're all homeboys. They're all doing this, busting spreads together. They must be cool. Little did I know what was really going on. I guess forgive and forget or forget to forgive. This vato eventually just said, you know what? Hey, I ain't tripping. You're the homeboys. Shit happens. You told on me. I'll just take it on the chin. He actually got more time than everyone else. Go figure. That's usually how it works out now, right? So trip out. What I didn't know, and the story I'm going to tell you, is 2 of those individuals were bitter rivals. Over the years of doing time together, they became upset with each other. Now, these 2 individuals were celled up. And I don't know about you. If you've ever had a bad cellie, someone that you can't stand, man, that's the worst thing in life you could have. You're confined to a little room and you start to hate everything they do. If this motherfucker coughs or sneezes, you're getting upset, right? You feel like getting off. If this about the farts, oh man, it could be World War IV. And we'll just skip World War III because they're already doing that, right? There's just a whole lot of different things that will upset you about this individual. I remember I had a cellie I didn't like. If this vato made a sopa a certain way, I wanted to stab him. That's just how it was. And anyone who's ever did time who's had a bad cellie like that, they know exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, anything that vato does, if the vato gets mail and you don't get mail, someone's getting battery packed, right? It just gets ugly. So anyways, these 2 individuals who we always thought they were good homeboys. I mean, I thought these 4 were solid as a rock. I even started to question the way that they kicked it. I mean, they never split apart. Can I go to the yard without this vato? They just never, ever, they were always together tight as a fist. And it's because they had these secrets in this paperwork that they weren't showing. I remember the paperwork I seen was the cover letter, man. I seen what they were in for. I seen they didn't have no bad charges. I said, who told on who? Obviously, they're all 4 together, so ain't no one told on no one. I thought, damn, this is the only time in history I've ever seen 4 vatos get locked up for a murder and no one said shit, right? These vatos hit different out here. So I actually was admonishing and looking up to these guys. You guys are solid as they come. I was wrong. So trip out. What I didn't know was 2 of these individuals actually hated each other and they were sold up and they started to become more bitter and more bitter. And one of them was a lot bigger than the other one. One was a skinny looking white guy. He was a Norteño, but he was, if you blew, he might blow away, right? But he was a homeboy. So no matter how big, how small, how many tattoos you got, how bald you are, you're Mongolian, hey, we're going to rock with you like if you're the biggest vato on the yard. That's the way the Norte rolled. That's just how it was. We didn't play favorites. We didn't play individualism or homeboy favoritism. There was none of that, especially with a person like me because I didn't get down like that. I treated every single homeboy, even if he smelled like caca, the same. I just told you, take a playazo, please. I'm going to go ahead and need that, right? Take a shower. But anyways, what was happening and what came to pass was more vicious than you could ever imagine. I guess this bigger fella decided that if for no other reason, he was going to start taking his abilities out on this other guy. He was going to start taking his pressures out on this other guy. So the whole time we're kicking back, spreads, it's all good. The bigger vato was in there abusing the smaller dude, right? He was in there doing extracurricular activities. He was over there letting the dick ride to the dick slide to the wobble, gobble, gobble, gobble. Somebody was gobbling something over there, man. They were on their Bud Light, right? It was, Kid Rock wouldn't have definitely liked that celly, right? But he was doing this over and over again. And this happened over years. Okay, it wasn't just something, I guess it was happening prior to me getting there. I could have swore up and down these vatos were the best of friends. And maybe they were. One never knows, does one. One was a husband, one was a wife. One had a knife and the other had life, right? Or they both did. It was just ugly. How everything was found out was this. I would always go in and out of the oil. In this place, right when I got there, the placas felt some type of way because I kept getting in and out of the oil and getting off in the other place. that when I got there, the administration, 2 captains and a lieutenant sat me down and they said, we're not going to go for your bullshit over here. You're not going to influence the inmates over here. You're not going to influence them because you're from California and got a few tattoos. You're not going to do that over here. Spence, I'm not just trying to do my time. It's you motherfuckers that put me over there, right? So I'm going to do what I had to do. But at the same time, just let me do my tiempo. Well, one of these officers, and I'm going to tell you, this is real. I don't know if you guys ever heard of the New Mexico riots that happened. Okay, there was a riot that happened in New Mexico where the inmates or convicts, whatever you want to call them, they overtook the prison and several prison guards were molested. They were, their cheeks were split, right? They orale, wig splitter, or who they call you, cheek splitter, big hurt. They did the panda man on them, right? And one of these officers was now a captain and he was placed in this prison where I was at. So he hated Mexicanos because I guess it was the Mexicanos that got him. Orale, paisita, vivo de tres animales. They got their issue on. They got the perico. They gave him the gallo and the chiva. So this guy, he hated some Mexicans, right? But he loved some brothers. I remember that. Maybe it was the brothers who gave it to him, and that's why he loved them. I don't know. One never knows, does one. I don't know how the story goes exactly. I just know he got the pipots, langots, and the vato hated life, and walked funny. Now, when I first got there, I remember him sitting me down. He was going in. He was like, I'll lock you up forever. I'll put shit in your cell. I'll do this. And I was like, damn, bro, it's all bad. So I already had a target on my back from the administration. The placas were already watching me close because they already knew I was going to get there and try to establish, which is what I was going to do. As an hermano, I was going to go there and I was going to try to at least set up shop with some of the homeboys to give them some game, those that were righteous, if there was any. And when I got there, like I said, these individuals were there. They're already kind of established, just not, up to par. But I was getting them there slowly but surely. They were giving me the game on how it was ran, how the Southsiders and our team, were basically at odds and on site. And I understood that. I understood the situation. Having been a YA baby, there were so many places I went where at times it was on site. It was get off where you were mad at. Nothing new to me. It wasn't like reading a new book, Holmes or driving a new Cadillac. I know how to cruise, right? So we're going to do what we does. So trip out. Back to this about the one and the other about the so. What we didn't know, or what I didn't know, I guess they all knew. I guess these vatos like to keep a lot of secrets hidden. A lot of things in their closet. Sabes que they weren't Eminem. They weren't trying to come up out the closet. Or R. Kelly. They was definitely trying to keep things tight-shipped, right? Or tight-lipped. Or maybe loose-lipped. One never knows. One vato did. So, I'm kicking back one day and I ended up going to the oil. Like I said, I was in and out of the oil. Administration would snatch me up for anything. We used to get shorts, right? And I remember I asked for long, like 4X shorts because I didn't want them to be above the knees. I said, do I look like John Stockton or Nate Diaz, right? I wanted long shorts. Honestly, I needed to be smooth. And the placa snatched me up for having gang paraphernalia, for having baggy shorts. So I said, they wanted everyone to look like Axl Rose at the fucking 1994 concert wearing biker shorts. I ain't doing it. I said, let me do my whole time, right? So they put me in the hole for 6 months for being gang related. 6 whole months, right? Man, the game was ugly back then. The struggle was definitely real. So I'm doing my time, and these vatos individually would come in and out of the oil. Well, one of them, we get to conversating. He's my next door neighbor, and he's the homie. So we're passing sopas back and forth, and he tells me, hey, you ever trip out on the homeboy whoop-de-whoop and wop-de-wop, right? I'm not going to say Heckle and Jekyll, or Curly and Mo, or Larry and fucking, or Pet Boy, right? You know what I mean? Manny, Mo, and Jack. He said, you ever tripped out on them 2 homeboys? I said, nah. He said, hey, look, I'm going to give you the rundown, but you can't tell nobody. That's what I said. There ain't no other homeboys. There ain't no one to tell. He's like, I don't do that. Look at my resume, right? So what's up? He said, hey, that big vato's over there bombing that vato. I said, what? Nah. He said, yeah, bro, not only that. Bro, you ever notice? Remember how he comes out with black eyes all of a sudden? You know what I mean? I was like, I have seen that, bro. I thought that they were, I ain't even gonna lie. I thought they did a little red on red. I thought they got into a little fist fight or something. I let that pass because, whatever happens in the cell stays in the cell. But what was happening in the cell was staying in the cell, right? And so he was like, nah, bro, it's been like that. He was like, I'm tired of being around these vatos. And then he ran me down about the snitch game. How about they told on him? He's the only one that didn't tell. So I was going to come to pass. He was actually telling the truth assist. He didn't tell, right? I was like, bang, bang, in a real way. So I felt some type of way. So let me tell you what happens. I'm getting out of the oil. This vato's going to get out. He got 2 more weeks after me. Notice I said I got 6 months, so I've been in there about 5 months and 3 quarters, right? And this vato got 2 weeks after me, so I said, this is what I'm going to do, Holmes. I'm going to get back to the compa. Because they would place me back with these guys. Like I said, there weren't too many Northerners there. We were the only ones. But now I'm feeling some type of way. I can't function with these guys. I can't function like that, gente. Guard, would you? You might, but not me. Woods, no, bro, is there crank there, brother? Because if there's coffee and crank, we might be able to function there, right? Well, look, I can't. And I'm going to tell you exactly the way it went down. So anyways, they let me out of the oil, and I'm in my cell. And what they do is they keep you in your cell for 3 days and then they'll pop you out. And it is what it is. They slowly ease you back into the program. It's just the way the fucking compa ran, right? I can't call it like an alcoholic. It's the way it went. So anyways, the homeboys are all at my door. Hey, you need anything? And I'm getting everything I can. Yeah, shoot me about 3 sopas. They're like, damn, I just shot you 4 earlier. I need 3 more. Hey, I'm starving. Plus I'm from Califas. Norte. What's happening, right? So the homeboys, they're plugging me in all kinds of things. The whole time I'm sharpening something, thinking, I can't wait, right? And then I see the other guy. I see Hecko and Jacko come out. He's walking like this, going, big people just all happy, like they're letting it swing. Because he's in there doing mean things to the other guy. And the other guy's in there. Now I can see the one guy in him. Now I can see the wangalization is real. And I'm like, God damn, I can't believe I ever took peanut butter from that vato, right? So Trip, the homeboy shows up. You know, I come out, chopping game, but I'm a little distant. They're like, hey, what's wrong, homeboy? I said, I'm institutionalized. Homeboy, let me do my own thing. I'm trying to stay away. There's a couple other homeboys there, and I'm running them down. Hey, we got to get off where we're mad at. We need to roll these guys up out of here, bro. They're not good. They're all rats. And not only that, bro. Now, I know what you're saying to yourself. Well, Gun, why didn't you just get off right there? So I was scared because I wanted to really get off. I wanted to make it count and make it happen. And the other homeboy was ready and finally willing to let these guys go. Now, I was mad at him as well for covering this up. So he was going to taste the rainbow himself. You know what I mean? He was going to be, you know, my channel worked out. So anyways, this vato, he shows up. First day, I'm like, you ready? He was like, I got to do my 3-day in and then I come out. That's the way it works. I said, no, fuck all that. As soon as we can get this door popped, I'm going to stand by your door like I'm your cellie and I'm going to get this door popped. I'm going to go up in there. We're going to come out. We're going to get off. He's like, all right, I guess. I said, just put your shit in bags. So I'm just get ready to go. Don't even unpack. It's just, damn, I haven't showered before that. Can I take a shower? No, you can't do none of that. You'll take a shower when you're in the oil. But what if it's not my time? You're bottom tier, top tier. Well, guess what, Holmes? You're not going to shower for 7 then. Let's go, right? I'm ready. He said, I've been ready. He's like, you should have just got off without me, Holmes. You didn't have to wait for me. Nah, I know I should have and I could have, but I didn't. So I shouldn't. Let's go. And I told the other 2 homies that were posted up, I was like, you guys ready? They're like, yeah. And let me tell you something, what happened. Let me tell you, my plan was, because it was such a despicable thing that was happening, you know, so bad that I wanted to make sure that these 2 individuals, the one that was getting boned on, yes, him, and the one that was being the aggressor, you know, the Batman and the Robin, I wanted to make sure to get Batman especially, right? So as soon as they popped the line movement, I stood by the door and the cop was kind of looking. He was skeptical about it, but he was a young cop, like, damn, is that vato really there? I was really way on the other side of the building, right? But I was like, it's go time or never, right? I had the pico sticking out of my asshole. I was like, oh, hurry up. What time about that chorro and shit everywhere? There's going to be knives everywhere and frajos. Like, you got to pack up there, right? So I don't even know what I had. Utterly. I was on my whack 100 shit, right? So I'm like, hurry up, right? Yeah, I got chorros. So he opens the door. When he pops that door, Holmes, right, that vato comes out. I'm like, let's go. The other doors are popped. Hey, the 2 vato ones in there drawing, going and pitchy artists, you know what I mean? Asshole just leaking everywhere. And the other ones who's over there just kicking back with the shirt all off, big old nipples hanging out, hair all over him. He can't wait for the lights to go out so he could do a celly in again, right? God's my witness, right? It wasn't a pretty situation. I ended up catching a new charge on that one, to which ultimately it was dropped because, you know, nobody told on me. I got lucky. Oh, hell yeah. And I don't care. It's past the statute of limitations and you can't get me. Toma. What you know about that one? Trip out. We did our dirt. Did what we had to do. The administration recognized it and PC them guys up and eventually got rid of them. Now, I say that story to tell you guys this. You never know who the fuck you're around. You never know who you're functioning with. You think it's a cool-ass homeboy. The embracement is real. It's all good. And they can have some sneaky things going on behind your back. These vatos were crime partners. Not only, let's take crime away from it because we're not even a crime. They were just partners, right? And there was some weird stuff going on. One guy was getting his back bit while the other guy was biting the back. And that's just how it is. You know, eventually we were able to get at the one dude who didn't tell too. And when he got a little chequeada in the oil, because they used to have a little yarda where they take us out. It was like a group yard. We ended up getting off on him too. And then the homeboys, you know, everyone went against me as they started kiting me out, 602 and me and telling everyone that I was pushing the California car shit too much. And they basically did most of my time in the oil. I did almost all the rest of my time in the oil. At the last 30 days, they kicked me out to a dorm and I was able to parole. But prior to that, yeah, you know, it was funny too. They were like, hey, the blacker would come and tell me straight up, he'd be like, hey, we were going to let you out, but your homeboys dropped another kite on you. I was like, damn, like that. It was an ugly situation. The Southsiders were like, we told you SC should have been through radio. I was like, man, this is ugly, right? And it wasn't a North thing. It wasn't like the Norteños weren't hard because there were some homeboys that were really out there functioning. I wish I could have been able to get to them, you know, so that we could do our thing. But this wasn't to be the case. These guys made my life a living hell. They were like cell warriors and trolls all at the same time. It just didn't work out for me. But guess what? One of them walks like this now, and the other one, well, he was walking like that already. So you know what it is. With that being said, I hope that you move smooth with a purpose. It's just another story to tell you. It's a true story. Fucking facts, 100%. It all happened. It was ugly, man. That's why you have to check paperwork extensively, man, because you don't know who you're around. You know, but the time, chain, kicking back. Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? Oh, shit. No, we can't be friends. Oh, hell no. Why is he doing that? I don't want to do that. If you like this, like and subscribe with a thumbs up. If not, hit me with a thumbs down. See, Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive and struggle for what I honestly, truly believe in, and that's bringing you factual and actual stories. My stories. I don't need to tell other people's stories. I'll tell mine, homes. You already know what it is. The gun. Bang, bang.